cash, homie.
48-4 jersey down.
Adrian Peterson is loose. Oh my heavens! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Why do you even ponder passing? Let's go to work, huh? Let's go to work! How do you like that?
5 shot 3, 1, 2, 3, fire!
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. My name is Tyler Haig, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Adam Patrick, who's sporting a pretty snazzy shirt there.
No, it's a bib.
Bib, excuse me. I'm sorry. Got distracted. What did it say? I drool purple?
Purple and gold.
Purple and gold. That was that was the sucker situation I was talking to months ago. It was a lot of drool and a lot of strange colors, and I almost threw up because my 3-year-old had a sucker. So hey, Adam, how are you?
Good.
How's things?
Yeah, it's good. It's been pretty good. Watched, combine going on. There's actual football stuff going on, football talk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. Lots of crazy. Hot take season is in the full effect.
Dude, it's crazy right now.
So
It
don't know who to believe. Don't know what to believe until it happens. So.
Honest to God, I've never clicked more Twitter handles to see who is this person giving me this information. I'm judging you by your followers. I'm
that blue check mark. It's important.
Very important this time of year. Very important this time of year.
Even that though, there's still people who just throw out stuff and it's not even close to being true.
The combine, a lot of talk. It's the only time where everybody's all together. It's the coaches, it's the GMs, it's the whole squad is involved. A lot of stupid meetings with a lot of stupid questions. What were some of your favorite? This is off the script a little bit here, Adam. But what are some of your favorite questions you heard asked? My favorite, personally, staring contest. There was an NFL team who was like, "We're going to have you do a staring contest to see how you're going to play football for us in the future." I think it's magical as an idea. I think I would thrive coming up with those types of questions. Looking for employment, NFL guys.
Who comes up with those questions?
That's what I'm saying. I'm better than them.
They probably come up with them on the plane ride to Indianapolis.
Sure.
I don't remember too many questions, but I always hear about players saying how they go into a meeting with a team and they just rip on them the whole time, and it's like, oh, that's nice. What? They're probably like, well, we're trying to see, what his mental. Strength
how he handles getting torn apart by a bunch of adults in a room. When is that ever going to happen to you?
On the field? Because someone's going to talk trash to him? That's
so outrageous.
He's not going against John Randall every day.
Well, and even then, it's like you think Odell Beckham Jr. flipped out when he got into a room with a bunch of coaches that were trying to make him mad. No, he gets mad when he's playing a bad football game and getting handled by Xavier Rhodes.
And Josh Norman.
Yeah, Josh Norman. I almost forgot about Josh Norman. But yes, these questions are outrageous. It never ceases to amaze me. There's so much money into it. There's so many important decisions, and then we wind up asking guys do you have 2 testicles?
Didn't Des Bryant get asked if his mom was a prostitute?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like somebody asked him that. That's nice.
It's just unbelievable that they can just the rules don't apply. It's not a normal interview. I mean, it should be, right? But it's not
a normal job.
It's not a normal anything. That's the problem. Is how do you? But I think it's outrageous for them to ask.
These kids are, trying to get millions of dollars. So they are kids,
dude.
So, even if they're in their 20s, they're kids.
God, that drives me crazy. The Pittsburgh GM saying that it was Ben Roethlisberger and 52 kids.
I did watch that entire Antonio Brown interview last night. I listened to it. It was 40 minutes, and I was like, this is so boring.
Oh, God, I could not. Good on you for putting up with 40 minutes of that.
It was in the background as I was doing something else.
Video of his. I can't do it.
His mustache. Can't watch that for 40 minutes.
Mustache. Who told him that was a good idea? If you need a better example of, being surrounded by yes people, look no further than a blonde mustache on Antonio Brown.
Somebody's still going to give them first or second round pick for him though, so whatever he can say whatever he wants.
I'd take him if it was a second round pick, third round pick. I'd do third round pick.
Third round, yeah.
Buddy.
Anyone would take that, but Steelers aren't going to give him up for a third round pick.
I don't think so. Do you think that? I mean, we don't need to bring this up all over again, but it's starting to look to me like the Pittsburgh like their move, their only play is to do the TO thing where it's like, you're just not going to be here, but we're not going to trade you until we get the right offer.
No, I think they'll trade him. Stuff's supposed to happen probably before the draft if it happens. But this is a Vikings podcast, so
is it though?
We can talk about some Viking stuff because Viking stuff actually happened in the past week since we last talked.
It's true. So at the combine, speaking of players who are being shopped, a lot of talk about Trae Waynes being moved possibly, and now today we're hearing more about Everson Griffen being a possibility. I don't think either of those two as players are like surprising that they're the ones being like shopped. But what would you? I guess what would be your minimum get for either of those players? If you were going to trade one of those or both of them, what would it take?
For Trae Waynes, your best bet's probably a third round pick at best, probably like a late third round, early fourth. I mean, judging just by how much he's going to cost next year, that he's going to be a free agent after next year, so there's no guarantee that the team who trades for him is going to be able to re-sign him. How his performance the past couple of years, he was okay last year. That was probably his best season, but that out of 4 seasons, that was his best, and it still wasn't amazing. And then you look at past trades that have involved cornerbacks, and usually third or fourth round pick, even at his age, is still what people are able to get for him. So there's a couple teams out there though that might be willing to part ways with a second round pick. I know the Raiders. I just wrote something about this. So I know the Raiders have 3 first rounders and a second round pick. So they might be willing to part ways with their second round pick because they have 3 first rounders. I think the Texans have 2 in the second round. There's one other team. Oh, the Lions. I included the Lions in my. I picked like 4 teams that they could trade him to. And I included the Lions because I was like, if the Vikings, would rather see him twice a year, give him to the Lions and be able to exploit him twice a year, that might be a team to send him to. So I thought that might have been interesting.
That would make me sad, but then I'd be okay with it because
he also went to Michigan State. So
good call. Yeah, man, I understand why we're talking about trading Waynes because there seems to be a perceived
Trae Waynes.
What did I say?
Trae Waynes.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
Quan.
You totally killed my train of thought. What was I going to say?
Sorry. But for like cap space and stuff.
Oh yeah, cap space. But because there seems to be an assumption that we have, if there's any spot they got a little bit of depth, it's at defensive back. But I remind you, lest we forget, Marcus Sherrills was playing like snaps at defensive back last season. So it's we got a lot of decent players there, but from a cap perspective, I think that's the reason you make the move.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk, but it's a risk that's probably a lower risk taking than, trading.
That's a great way to put
a tight end or a safety or a linebacker.
For sure. If you had to put money on where you would be most able to handle a situation like that, it would be a defensive back because
it's a risk because Mike Hughes is coming off of ACL surgery, so there's no guarantee that he'll even be ready for the start of next season. If he is, he's probably not going to be 100%. There's no guarantee that Holden Hill is going to continue to progress the way that he did last year, and there's no guarantee that Xavier Rhodes is going to recover or
bounce back,
or not get hurt again next year and be hurt all year. So it's a risk for sure, but I don't think Trae Waynes is the kind of player that's not replaceable.
Exactly.
I think they can get someone in free agency or even the draft, use their first round pick on a corner. That would make everyone so happy.
People would love that so much. That would be so fun. I would be into it.
There actually aren't a whole lot of corners that are worth spending a first round pick on this year, so I don't think that'll happen. But yeah, no, it's something they have to look at because they need cap space. It clears $9 million. That's a big amount of money.
Yes, it is.
To clear somebody. And I heard there was rumors last week of them trading Waynes straight up for like Kelechi Osemele, the Raiders offensive lineman, but he's got a big salary too, so that would defeat the whole purpose of trading Trae Waynes if you're trying to clear cap space, because I really think that's probably the only reason why they're doing it.
Definitely. It feels like that to me, because at that point, if you're bringing in an offensive lineman who's worth the same, if not more, on a cap hit wise, you're just basically plugging one hole, taking the plug out of one to plug the other. Like, you still are going to have
and
an
I would
issue
be
there.
On Everson Griffen. I would be surprised. I really would be surprised if they traded him, because they probably want something more in return than what teams are probably willing to give him for Everson Griffen.
Nick Olson had kind of a pro-con list for that, and he made a great point in that this would be the lowest.
You can't give him that much credit because of his credibility. So.
No, I mean I think he's credible.
Oh yeah.
He made a good point though in that they'd be selling at the lowest point for Griffen. Mm-hmm. It would be the lowest time to sell.
Like a 6th round pick.
However, do you think that this could? It looks like he's got more years behind him than he's got ahead of him. Mm-hmm. And if he is going to be as productive as he was when he came back last season, that is not worth that kind of money, and that's not going to work at all. So what do you think the chances of him actually I don't think he's going to get traded, because I think teams recognize that he's going to get cut if they don't. They don't have to give up anything for him, because eventually he's going to be available to them.
Right. Yeah, that's a big reason why I think that too. And just like you said, his play hasn't been that great, and I think it's really up to him if he wants to stay with the Vikings, because I feel like he's going to have that choice. You can stay here, but you got to lower your salary, dude. You got to help us out, kind of like what they were doing with B-Rob all those years. And I feel like they did that with Greenway his last couple of years.
Yes, for sure.
And it's just getting to that point with Griffen. He might not think so, but they need some help. And if he's there, he's made a lot of money in his career, so it's not like this shouldn't be a money issue, I feel like, for him, but maybe it is. I don't blame him for trying to stick around with that salary, because it's a lot of money.
No kidding. And you sign the contract and you want the money.
Yeah.
I get it. That makes sense. And it's also for a lot of these professional athletes too, we forget, because it's that's so much money. But for a lot of these guys, it's kind of a pecking order of where you think you're at in your professional, to go from making 11 million or 12 million or 15 to making 2 or 3, that is kind of a shot to the ego when you're surrounded by rich dudes.
What I've been hearing and reading, and what I think too, is they'll try and restructure him. And if that doesn't happen, then they'll just release him. Because I just don't think they're going to get a whole lot in a trade.
No, I don't think so either.
Maybe they'll keep him around for maybe the draft, if they want to use him as part of a package to move up. Maybe in the 1st or 2nd round, they can probably do that.
For sure.
But his salary,
smart, actually, yeah.
I think his salary does guarantee on the 15th. So
if
whoever
he's still
gets
here, he's getting paid on the 15th. So this has to happen.
Something's gonna happen soon. If they're gonna release him, it's gonna happen soon, or else they're gonna have to pay him.
There's no way they do that,
somebody else,
right? He's gonna get cut before that happens, right? Or would they try and restructure if he can't? Yeah, and then if he. Man, that's crazy. What a difference. Think about saying this a year ago. Unfathomable.
I believe, I just wrote about this too. They have the Vikings have until the 13th for Trae Wayne's salary to be guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So that's coming up. And then Sendejo, they have to decide by the 12th if they want to pick up his option or not for 2019, which they probably won't, because it doesn't really seem like the smartest idea. It's $5 million that they can just get back. Kyle Rudolph's contract, no guarantees left on there, so they can wait until after the new league year begins and decide if they want to trade him or release him or whatever, or restructure, and so they can wait for a while. And then guys like Mike Remmers and Riley Reif, the Vikings will actually make more or get back more money if they wait until after June 1st.
Really?
Yeah. Just because of bonuses and stuff that go into effect before and after. But they can give those to a June 1st designation.
Okay.
So they can release them so they can become free agents in March. but the cap situation, like relief or whatever, won't take effect until after June 1st. So, but I don't think they'll do that because of how, the bad luck they've had with their offensive line, like health-wise.
For sure.
So I think they might keep those guys around for training camp and then, decide if they want to keep them or not. And then
because the last thing you can do is to have a room full of injured or non-existent offensive linemen when training camp
lack
starts.
of experience and stuff like that.
That is not what we're looking for. Other interesting news. Anthony Barr almost got traded at the Combine last year. We found out, kind of. Or was it at the Combine? But anyways, they traded him. We're like kind of trying to shop him around and trade him. What do you make of that? I mean, it kind of tells us everything we need to know as far as where they saw him.
It's not surprising. It sounds like maybe he wanted out of there. Maybe thinking that he saw like not getting an extension was coming. So he was like, no, I don't want to be here. Apparently he wanted to be on the West Coast because that's where he's from.
Yeah, definitely. Also, real quick, with the shopping people around and in general, this is also a great way for a general manager to figure out what the market value is on some of these guys.
Oh, everyone does it.
Totally. So
it's the Combine. Like
that's the whole thing.
That's the majority. Like I know there's players working out and stuff, but the majority is like for everyone to mingle and general managers to meet with agents and stuff and go over their clients. Like the illegal tampering part.
Yes.
That people just brush to the side.
That we're not supposed to talk about because it's not important and it doesn't really affect anything that anybody's doing until the Patriots do something they're not supposed to do at that
time.
Well,
who got traded?
Foles? Or no?
No.
Because he got released and they just say he was going to sign.
What was the big trade? Oh, Flacco, but that was before the Combine. So, but there's trades like that always happen. They're like, it can't happen until, the new league year begins. But yeah, I guess with Foles.
But we've agreed to terms to do this.
The Jaguars are basically reportedly going to sign him and release Blake Bortles. So to reunite him with John DeFilippo.
A match made in heaven.
Good luck with that. Leonard Fournette, you're never going to touch the ball.
It will be so interesting to see how Jacksonville is about halfway through this season, because there's a chance that they could just be a total dumpster fire. And I don't know much about the locker room, but from what I've gathered of their locker room, there's a lot of ego, a lot of attitude in there. And if things don't go real well,
Jalen Ramsey's pretty quiet.
That might get kind of aggressive. It might get kind of weird. It might get.
I could see like Doug Marrone being fired mid-season and then John DeFilippo taking over. That'd be hilarious.
Please, Lord, let that happen. Oh, my God. I would love it so much. So, yeah, the bar thing. Interesting that we're finding out about it now. But it tells us
makes
a lot
sense.
about, where
makes sense and tells you that they probably aren't going to fight to bring him back.
Mm. And it looks to me like somebody's going to pay him a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
To possibly be a very good edge rusher.
Well, he's one of with all these guys that just got franchised today. His like stock is moving up because he's becoming one of the top, available free agents on the market. So he's going to get paid a lot of money next season, and it's not going to be from the Vikings.
No, it's not. It's just so difficult to imagine him playing for the Vikings next year. As far as the Combine itself is concerned, do you watch any of it? Like, do you kind of have it on? I kind of have it on, but
did you skip Mike Zimmer?
What? Oh, did we not talk about Mike Zimmer?
No, we didn't talk about him.
Mike Zimmer has not been extended, but his option has been exercised.
Yep.
So he
just
now is the
Trae
coach
Waynes
into 2020. Here's the thing.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, lame duck years are so last
Jeff Fisher
season
got extended the season before he got fired.
Exactly.
So even an extension doesn't really matter.
He's a lame duck coach either way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's bad or that's a bad thing. I think that is kind of an overblown deal. But we exercised your option that nobody really knew about, and you're still on the hot seat if you screw this up this year.
It was going to happen. Either way. They had to say yes or no, and if they said no, then it's not a good look.
Ooh, it's a bad look. Real bad luck. Can't do that.
But yeah, no. People are saying, people have various opinions on it about how, he doesn't deserve it or whatever, but, and they're like, well, you shouldn't compare him to past coaches, and and what he's done with the Vikings and what they've done. And it's like, well,
What
then
are you
what do you
comparing him to? Like, what-
Bud Grant? Like, what do you, when there was 15 teams
He's
in
a
the
pretty
league?
good coach. Just don't compare him to any other coaches.
Yeah. He got lucky with that playoff win. It's like, yeah, well, he had bad luck with the playoff loss to the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
So, take that and switch those.
I don't know how you can look at a guy who's had quarterbacks like Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, although we loved him, we all loved him. Sean Hill, guys like that, Matt Castle, and has still been able to win as much as he's been able to win and get them
Josh Freeman was before him.
God.
Thank God.
Just saying that
I wonder
name.
what Mike Zimmer would have had to say if he was, if Josh Freeman was there when he was there.
It might have been the best press conference.
Oh yeah, because that would be early in his career when he really didn't care what he said.
When he really would have let it rip. Yeah, dude. Zimmer. I like Zimmer. Here's obviously, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but like where do you go if you get set back? You have to start over. It's a new coach, a new system, blah blah blah. Assuming you get rid of Zimmer, but if you could have anybody, I think they got the right dude here. I think they have like the right system being built. I think this is like not self-sustaining, but I think they can be competitive every year, all the time.
They are.
Yeah. So like I'm into it. I don't know why you would even be upset.
I just think I don't know why, but I think just Vikings fans, their expectations are like so high. Like they expect a Super Bowl like every year, and it takes time.
Well, it's like this is a terrible analogy. I might get
this is Mike Zimmer's first head coaching job.
Yeah. Well,
ever.
Vikings fans are like dogs that like smell treats, or like we can like smell it and we're gonna like be around it. But if we
so you want the whole box.
If we see it, if it looks like there's an actual chance that we could have it, bonkers, we go crazy. And I think that's what happened last season. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah, because I think you can look at
new quarterback. And I'm not saying I'm not a part of it. I was guilty of it too. But we should have been able to look at that team early on in the season last year and been like, this ain't happening, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, there were some signs for sure. But just like people who want a different coach or whatever, the people that want a different coach don't have like never give a choice to like a name for who they want as head coach. They just want Zimmer gone.
Yeah, just somebody else.
Yeah, anybody.
Like, it doesn't matter. Just somebody.
Jeff Fisher. Just bring him in.
Oh god.
But like bringing in a new guy, there's no guarantee that it's going to be better.
No,
a lot of times what happens, it gets worse.
Yes.
It usually gets worse before it gets better.
You can
with Zimmer in there, I feel like you at least have a head start for every season. Like you have an advantage over other teams because of who their head coach is.
Yeah.
Instead of, some guy just starting off or whatever and then not knowing what's going on. Look at the Broncos. They won the Super Bowl. They hired what's his name? I don't even know. Oh, Vance Joseph. And they've done horrible past 2 years. And now they're back, looking for – they got a new coach now, and now they have to figure out what's going on. Like, just because somebody's not, winning the Super Bowl every year or having to deal with crazy circumstances every single year. And still, getting at least 8 wins. I mean, this kind of makes me feel like how Jay Gruden has survived in Washington because of all the crazy things that I feel like if happened there, he's just been given the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Zimmer's a better coach than Jay Gruden. But I just think expectations, let's work on, getting into the playoffs, get a playoff win consistently before we start being like, oh, he didn't win the Super Bowl, fire him. Like, they're not in that position
for sure.
To do
I
that.
think you hit it. I think the focus right now is the ceiling, which is like the Super Bowl. And when people recognize that the team has an actual possibility of winning the Super Bowl, I think that
everybody
is
does.
just that's what I'm saying. But it's just natural to focus on that. But what we should be focusing on for this team is that the floor of this team has now gotten to a point with the defense, with Mike Zimmer, with Kirk Cousins. I'm going to sneeze in a second here.
Oh.
Is that on my face?
Nah, I don't know.
With the defense, Mike Zimmer, Kirk Cousins.
Even that class.
Their their floor, they're like, worst season they could have would be 6 or 7 wins. That's like the worst they could possibly get. That's what I'm saying.
They've never had 6 wins.
Worst case scenario is that. And so what you're looking at is a team that's always competing for the playoffs, always right on the doorstep. And as a franchise,
that's what
isn't
you want.
that exactly what you want? Yes. But yeah, we should fire him because
they're in a tough division. NFC is way harder than the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Patriots have to deal with like 2 teams every year that might beat them. And then in the NFC, there's like 8 or 9 teams every year that have a chance to just even get in the playoffs, and then the whole year they're all just beating up on each other.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah, because who does New England? I mean, now Kansas City, but like for all the who are they even like?
Pittsburgh,
nobody. In Pittsburgh,
Denver, Baltimore, maybe. Like it's every other year is different. Like pair of teams.
Pittsburgh's the same way. It's just like everybody else is so bad that sometimes Pittsburgh gets to be good because everybody else around them sucks. I feel like New England is like that too, but they start rolling and they can't.
Not for long though. Pittsburgh, they got the Ravens and the Browns, picking up steam in that division.
Yeah, dude, the Browns.
But yeah, the NFC is just a bloodbath, and it has been
really
ever since Mike Zimmer has gotten to the Vikings, and I just don't think like certain factors are taken into account, and people just look at it black and white, and you can't do that.
No, you definitely can't, and especially for this coach and this team in this scenario, because there's been so much other stuff that have happened, like. We talked about it at length, but like catastrophe
their coach
after
died.
Catastrophe, yeah, and he's still consistent.
Teddy's leg almost fell off.
To almost 8 wins. Yeah, Teddy's leg fell off. It's ridiculous. Okay, 0 to 2020.
Sam Bradford still has knees, sort of.
Dust for knees. So the combine.
He should be in the AAF.
Yo, dude. He's got too much money.
He would light it up.
He plays for nothing less than like.
He would light it up.
17 million. He would. That would actually be kind of fun to watch. He wouldn't have to move. You just fire around the place.
Because they don't really blitz, so it'd be perfect with him.
You can only rush 5 guys. It's the best league for him. Oh my god! How have we never thought of this before? So, what do you think of the combine? How much of it did you watch?
I watched quite a bit.
Are you in love with DK Metcalf? He's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's impressive, but if he was, trying to get on the Olympic track team, yeah, he'd be great. Mm. But he's got to catch the ball. He's got to get open. I'm hesitant to ever fall in love with anyone at the combine because of so many times people have been burned. Obviously, there's guys like Khalil Mack and Von Miller and Patrick Peterson and all those guys and Saquon Barkley that already, they do what is expected of them, but they also have that. They also have the track record in college to back that up.
You knew about them before the combine, guys. You just find out about that.
He does not. You've only seen, he's only been going viral on, Twitter with his picture with his shirt off and stuff, where he has like a 19-pack.
He's a very impressive human being from muscle standpoint.
So have been a lot of players that have been in the NFL and failed to do anything. So
Brock Lesnar, he's pretty impressive physically.
Yeah.
He'd make a great football player. We found that out. You know who else looked really good in the combine was Trae Waynes.
He's also going to go probably top 5. I wouldn't doubt that for a second.
Trae Williamson.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The Raiders are probably gonna be like, we don't have a quarterback, but we'll get a wide receiver.
Also, I realized while watching the combine, Ole Miss wide receiver, not interested.
No.
Yeah, he ran a 4.33. Yeah, he's like a Greek god. Ole Miss wide receiver. Does he wear white gloves?
It was fun to watch.
I'm good. No,
I watched his 40 live, and I was just like, oh my!
It's crazy. He's like, it's unbelievable.
What did he do? Like 30 reps on the bench press, and had like a 43-inch vertical. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
He's got 1.9% body fat, and like bodybuilders sit
that's
in
not,
the
that's
3
not,
to 4% range.
You don't want to have that though when you go in the NFL because you'll break in half in like 2 seconds.
It's crazy to me. Like he's just like a specimen.
He is, and he could be good. He could be good.
Mm-hmm. He very well could be.
There's also like a Kevin White. He he razzle-dazzled or whatever at the combine and got himself a top 10 pick, and he's got less catches than Laquan Treadwell. So,
unfortunately, I think that is correct. How many teams has he played for already?
Just one. Just the Bears.
Oh,
he's just hurt every year.
Oh, I thought they traded him.
No, I think he's a free agent this year, actually.
All right. Yeah, man, the combine. It's so interesting because it excites me because it's like, yes, the draft and real football, and then you watch it and it's like, nah, it's not real football.
Oh, yeah, here's how much you need to take the combine seriously. The kickers run 40-yard dash.
No way. Do they really?
Yeah, everyone does.
Shut up. What are the kicker how
we got to see how fast
how did I not know that kickers where's the footage of the kickers running the 40?
Kickers that the Vikings met with.
Oh, man. Speaking of meeting with people at the combine, Vikings have been meeting, with a lot of people, as do the rest of those teams. Have you been noticing who they're meeting with, what it's looking like? Have you seen this? Do you have
good news? This will be good news. It looks like a bunch of offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're realizing they should have done that last year.
Yeah.
Offensive linemen, tight ends. They met it with Noah Fant from Iowa.
Yep.
Which he looked pretty good at the combine. He has actual stats from college that are pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Deebo Samuel's another guy I heard they met with. He's a wide receiver.
Okay.
Speedy guy. It's like 3 kickers.
Yes. Yes.
A couple pass rushers, linebackers.
Yep.
Just the basics, but a bunch of offensive linemen, so that should make people happy. I think like Dalton Reisner and guys like that. So, who says he wouldn't mind playing in purple?
I'd be
Dalton
interested
Reisner.
in that. Do you think if they go tight end with the 18th overall pick, do you think that's a good move, bad move? Does it depend on the player? Like, where are you at with
it depends on what they do with Kyle Rudolph.
Okay.
Depends on what they do with Kyle Rudolph.
Fair point.
I think if you get rid of him, that becomes a big need. So first round wouldn't be out of the question. But I think there's a bunch of tight ends that are pretty good in this draft. So they could wait until the second or third round to go after somebody. So I would be surprised if they did that unless it became a very big need. They obviously have other big needs. I know it's a fun pick for people to make in their mock drafts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But offensive line, defensive tackle, safety,
you could go a lot of
a lot of positions that are higher
defensive
up on the board.
Back, corner.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, there's a couple more needs than tight end for the Vikings.
Yeah,
in the first round.
And I understand why people are saying like they don't have a ton of depth, and it's obvious that Rudolph is in kind of a weird situation.
3 tight ends.
But nobody seems to think that any of these guys besides Rudolph can catch a pass in the end zone.
I don't understand why people are so in love with like tight end depth. Like it's ever meant anything for any team.
This is exactly my point. Is like what about like the tight end position ever in the history of this league has led us to believe that this is actually going to be something that needs to be addressed. Like you're right, if Rudolph is gone, then that is a glaring need. But right now, David Morgan's on, bro. He might have been your MVP last year.
Tyler Conklin, he was a rookie. He had spurts or whatever last year. He could get better.
Yeah, he was on the field a little bit. I just don't like. I'm not here to. I'm not here to.
People are just hoping for the next
Gronk, man. Yeah, I just don't understand why it has to be an issue right now.
Gronk, who got drafted in the second round, so there's no. It's kind of like a kicker. There's no need to draft a tight end high. Like there's some that have been maybe worth it.
Yeah, but you recognize it.
Who was the last one? The first round that was worth it. Like Jeremy Shockey.
Yeah, if that even. Because, who did that butt kid get taken the other year? What's he doing? I haven't heard anything about him.
He's on the Broncos. Yeah, he hasn't done anything. Melvin Ingram, was he a first-round guy last year? He's on the Giants. I think Jimmy Graham was like a late-round pick.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, man. I don't know. I just don't get the tight end depth. Not that I acknowledge that if some things switch around, you're going to need a tight end. Like, I get it. Don't at me.
You don't need to. It's not a beating the table.
Yeah, totally. But it feels like people are like, no, I'm going 18 tight end, no problem. It's like, why though? I don't know. Yeah. It perplexes me that people would be like okay with the tight end pick, but anything besides offensive lineman is gonna like.
Well, it's like a 6 offensive lineman.
That argument drives me crazy. Oh,
that's why
you know what? We never talked about this. I wanted to touch on it real quick because I think I know where you stand on it, but I just want to hear what you think. Rosen. If Arizona takes Kyle, God damn it, just let me finish.
I already saw what was written. That's a big no.
All I'm saying, 3rd round pick. You got
he's gonna get traded.
You got
by the way.
That's
he's going to get traded.
Rosen is.
Oh yeah.
He's got to be out of there, right? Yeah. They'll take the first, and then you get him 3rd round pick. Bing bang boom. You got some guy, and
he's also not gonna be traded for a 3rd round pick. He was picked in the 1st round last year.
That was what. There was a GM that said that. Can't imagine anybody giving up more than a 3rd round pick.
Because they want him for a 3rd round pick. That's why. He is not getting traded for anything less than a 1st round pick.
If he got traded for a 3rd round pick, would you take him? Would you take the deal? And would you let him sit behind Kirk Cousins? I think it's perfect. What? Even for a 3rd round pick? If it's a 2nd or 1st, I would say, I'm good on it. I can't do it. Because then there are expectations. 3rd round pick, boom.
Because there's a lot of factors that come with him besides just, getting him and being like, oh, we can sit him, because that's not going to happen. It's not that easy. Like, he's going to come in, and the second Kirk Cousins does bad, it's like, put Rosen in.
No, see, here's the best thing, though, is that I don't think people like him. I think he's like a smarmy turd. I don't think people like...
He is, but he's shown that he's a good quarterback. In
has he, though, in Arizona?
Oh, he was with the Cardinals?
And he's on his rookie deal. But this is what I'm saying, because people saw Teddy Bridgewater throw a touchdown pass. None of these fans of ours have seen Sam Rosen do anything. Or what's his name? Sam Rosen. Darnold, whatever his name is.
He's pretty old. I don't know. He did retire, so he's got some free time.
I think for a 3rd round pick, you do it. I can't imagine he's getting traded for anything.
No, it's a fun idea to toss out there, but
the idea of having a guy on a rookie deal backing up Kirk Cousins in case the Kirk Cousins experiment doesn't work out and then we have to go someplace else after year 3?
People wanted Slaughter to go in there last year. Can you imagine if they have Rosen on their roster?
Yeah, that's a fair point. And you're right. Well, see, this is my big thing was because he's like a not likable character. Every other, like Joe Webb's a likable dude. Teddy Bridgewater's a likable guy. Even Matt Castle is kind of likable. Case Keenum's likable. These are guys that like you would be like, I want him to succeed. I don't look at Rosen and think like I want him to succeed. I think I want that turd to fail. But not when he's playing for my team. Does that make sense? I think it's safe.
No one liked Jay Cutler, but they knew he was a better quarterback than what they had.
Yeah, Jay Cutler is a great comparison. Do you think if Jay Cutler was the backup right now, people would be like Cutler? If
at his age,
like, well, yeah, I mean it's a little bit. It's an apples to oranges,
or like in his prime.
Just
like if Jay Cutler was coming out and he had 1 year, and then wasn't he traded like a year or two after he was drafted? I feel like it was soon.
Yeah, it was a couple. Yeah, it was. And got traded because he was a jerk. But even in his prime, he was a good quarterback, but he never like won a bunch of games. Like he wasn't. I mean, he could throw the ball, but do you think because he was so unlikable for fans, do you think they would?
Which I don't know why
for him. Yeah, I think Jay Cutler is fine. I think it's just his body language. But Rosen's the same way. Why don't people like him? I don't know, because he looks like he's got like resting bitch face. Like that's all I can come up with. Maybe he's kind of cocky and like, but whatever. It just feels like a safer bet where you don't have to worry about it.
I was watching A Football Life with like Carson Palmer, and he was going over how like during his career he was one of like the most hated players in his career just because he was quiet. Like he didn't say anything crazy to the media.
And people hated him for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember hating Carson Palmer.
Yeah. Because he wanted like out of Cincinnati or whatever.
Yeah,
He's a bad guy.
Didn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But no, I want nothing to do with Josh Rosen on the Vikings. I want nothing to do with Antonio Brown on the Vikings. They have a good locker room. Let's not create controversy where there isn't any. So
yeah, and those guys are definitely both not locker room guys.
Rosen could be like all this stuff about him. People might have thrown out there before the draft to maybe get their guys above him.
Yeah, and it was never teammates saying it. It was always coaching older folks who maybe didn't quite get how to talk.
Although, he did go to UCLA, and the Vikings do, they do like their UCLA guys. So.
They sure do.
But he's not coming. So, especially when a team, because the Vikings are certainly not going to give out a first-round pick to get him.
No.
And a team like the Redskins probably is.
No way. Redskins, they're going to go get Tannehill because they're the Redskins.
Actually,
did you see that they're talking to? Yes, that's what's going to happen. It's magic. You can't make it up.
But I don't think they have enough money because he costs like $20 million next year. I don't think they have enough money to afford him.
Does he really? $20 million?
Yeah, that's why nobody wants to trade for him. So I think Rosen is not coming to the Vikings despite what the Daily Norseman wrote.
I'll tell you what, though. If I was Spielman, I'd be on the phone right now offering a third-round pick to Arizona for that QB. Let him sit. Let him simmer. Little Aaron Rodgers action there. Comes in. Sets the world on fire.
Here's the thing, though. You have to pay Kirk Cousins no matter what the next 2 years. This is the whole thing with people wanting to bring in other quarterbacks. You have to pay him no matter what next 2 years.
No matter what. Yeah, I totally get that. But then you got a guy on his rookie contract.
Yeah, but you're going to sit. So you're going to waste 2 years of his rookie contract by sitting him?
No, I mean, you don't have any choice.
You're supposed
to pay Kirk Cousins. We made that bed. We got to sleep in it now.
Yeah, so
this is a backup plan.
It'd be good maybe next year when there's 1 year left on Kirk Cousins' deal.
Do you think actually though the more practical way to look at this is drafting a quarterback? Are they going to do that this year? Because that's the move. That's the if you got a guy.
Late round. I know Mike Zimmer said they want to look for another quarterback. Probably, I think he hinted towards probably a veteran. Mm-hmm. And he said they'll look in the draft too, which his comments also made it sound like they're not that confident in Slaughter being their backup.
Yeah.
Next year, which is kind of surprising. But I understand them wanting a veteran, and with Kubiak and stuff in there, them wanting someone who's probably more familiar with the way they run things.
I was surprised by that, the way and I was also surprised at the way Zimmer talked about Bauer. He was like, well, probably not. I was like, oh, that was a little bit like
we can afford him, he'll come back.
Yeah, I was like, I thought he'd be more guarded and oh, we definitely want him. He's like, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't,
he was in a pretty good mood.
He was joking
at the combine. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, joking on the radio. honest to God, I'm not making this up. I turned the station for a little bit because I was like, this is uncomfortable to me that they're getting along and laughing and
I feel like K fans usually not that bad when they talk to him.
No, they know. Are pretty good actually.
They know not to ask him certain questions probably.
Well,
or they probably can't ask him certain questions.
That's what I was just going to. PA knows all the rules, so he knows what to ask him, what not to ask him. Because I don't think he does much. He might do Barrero, but I don't think he does.
He's a piece of work.
Who's that, PA?
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. I used to listen to him all the time when I was a couple of years ago, but the homerism just gets a little out of hand sometimes. So
it can be tough.
And then you go to Score North, and it's the exact opposite. Just beating everyone on the ground.
It is.
So that's why you listen. That's why you listen to this podcast. It's kind of middle of the road.
That's right. We are kind of middle of the road. That's actually a great point. We're gonna take over the market. We just gotta quit being so crazy, you guys. Come on, hop on board. Listen to our podcast. What was the last thing we discussed? Was meetings at the combine, I think. Only other thing I got Easton. Real quick on the offensive line.
Did I write down Kubiak they might have wanted Kubiak as the OC first before Stefanski?
Oh, yeah, I think you did. Did I write that down? I don't think I wrote it down. I missed it. Kubiak. So tell me about that. So because the timeline of things, is that what leads you to believe that?
Because Zimmer was interviewed, I think, on NFL Network, and they asked him, how'd the Kubiak thing, come about? And Zimmer, immediately was like, well, we contacted him first thing after the season. So I'm like, oh, really? So, and Kubiak was like, well, I think something's going to happen in Denver. So, I'm going to try and see what that happens. And Zimmer was like, okay, we'll just keep us posted or whatever. And then
we'll wait it out. And then they hired Stefanski.
They couldn't wait around. So they hired Stefanski, and then Kubiak became available. And they're like, hey, you want to come in? So,
he's our advisor. He's our offensive advisor guy.
I think that would lead most people to believe that they probably originally wanted Kubiak to be the OC.
100%.
But either way, they got him in the building, so I think it'll still be a big help.
It definitely puts to rest the theory that Kevin Stefanski was super into it and all like suggesting that they bring in Kubiak.
I mean, he
not
was
that
trying
many
to be,
people believed it, but
yeah, I mean, he was trying to be a head coach, so obviously the Vikings weren't his first choice either.
True.
So but whatever, he's gonna be the OC. Kubiak's gonna be there to help him out. I think it'll be good. I don't think either of them have a huge ego that will get in the way of them working together.
I think you're exactly right. I think it's going to work well. But here's the other thing that I think we make too much, not we as in you and me, but we as in fans and media make too much of the like relationships between these. Like, is Stefanski's feelings going to be hurt because he's got Kubiak? It's constant in this league. That is how everybody hires everybody. It always looks like this. There's always somebody. Yeah, there's always somebody ready to take your job. There's always somebody who's going to take over when you get fired. Like
Zimmer just fired like almost his entire offensive staff.
For sure. So. That's what I'm saying, man. And so, and I guess to a certain extent, it works with players too, where like, yes, Antonio Bryant,
Brown.
Thank you. What did I say, Bryant? God, I'm just on fire today. Just
that is
all the wrong
name
names.
Drop.
All the wrong names. Dating myself.
He went to Pittsburgh, but he didn't play.
If he is like, yes, a locker room issue, personality issue, but I feel like a lot of these teams don't get along with each other anyways. So like think
everyone's
that
out
like
doing their
we
own
have this
thing.
like big kumbaya, like we all like hold hands in a circle and we're best buds. It's like that ain't the case in locker rooms in the NFL.
There's so many players now. Like everyone, I feel like everyone has their own group. Anyways, like the wide receivers hang out with their wide receivers.
Totally.
Defensive linemen hang out with the defensive linemen. Like everyone probably like gets along or whatever, but it's not like everyone goes out to like Olive Garden every night and just has a big buffet,
which would be totally okay because Olive Garden is great food for a great price.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any comments on Nick Easton being cleared for 2019? He's a free agent, is he not?
Yeah.
Do you think they bring him
it's
back?
Good.
Yeah,
I
good for him, obviously.
I don't think he's going to be expensive. He's familiar with the personnel. He's the kind. I feel like he's the kind of offensive lineman that they're probably looking at for their new scheme.
That's exactly
guy
it.
who can get out and move around.
Is flexible.
So yeah,
can play multiple positions if they need him to.
Yeah, they'll try and get him back. I don't know how many other options he would have. I mean, the Vikings probably are the team that knows the most about his injury.
Injuries, yeah.
So yeah, I think they'll try and bring him back. He's not going to be expensive. So
no.
Yeah.
I would like to have him. I thought he was really good. And if you remember, that was one of the things that Zimmer mentioned at the end of the year was how much they missed him when he was hurt for the stretch. So
yeah,
something to think about. Do you have any hot takes, free agent hot takes? Do you have anything you're looking forward to? Do you have anything you want to touch on?
My closing argument?
I mean,
my closing remarks?
Your pre-closing remark statement. You got no pre-closing remarks.
We covered a lot unless anything happened. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I've been looking at my
I don't think what the franchise deadline is tomorrow for the tag, and I don't think the Vikings are going to use it. They haven't used it since 2011, so I don't
Which
think
is Chad Greenway, right?
Yeah, they've only used it twice. You know who the other player was?
Ryan Longwell.
No.
Who?
Jimmy Kleinsasser.
Shut up. It was Greenway and Kleinsasser are the two.
Yeah.
Sometimes this franchise
twice in since 1993.
It's ridiculous. Although I will say this, the franchise tag kind of a bad way
cop out.
Yeah, kind of a bad way to build relationships with your players and like force them to stay.
Well, it worked out for the Steelers and Le'Veon Bell. So.
Yeah, no, it was really
and the Redskins.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah, exactly. All right, closing remarks, bud. You got any closing statement, closing remark? What do you got?
Yeah. I've thought this for a while with the combine. I don't know why they don't wear pads and helmets. Why are we trying to figure out if they can run fast in tights? Like, what does that matter? Like, let's put the helmets. They don't have to hit anybody, but let's put the helmet on. Let's put the pads on. See if they can catch balls, over their head with the helmet on. They have to do that in a game. So why are we just giving them and just like freedom to do all this stuff and do stuff that they might not be able to do on the field when they have pads and a helmet on? Doesn't have to be a lot of pads. You could put like Ed McCaffrey pads on or whatever. But
yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
At least a helmet,
especially too from the quarterback perspective. Why would you not have them in shoulder pads when they're throwing the ball? They're going to be throwing the ball in shoulder pads. Put some shoulder pads on the guy. You probably got him laying around. You're in a football stadium.
Like
There's probably a door, a room.
Yeah. I don't care if a guy can run like a 4.7 40 in his underwear. Like, great. That doesn't mean, especially if it's an offensive lineman. Great.
You can tell that I'm not like a finely tuned athlete because wearing something like that in public for me would just be, I could not imagine like going anywhere and being like, gotta run in like, this. What do you do? You know,
like Will Ferrell in Old School.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta keep our composure.
Yeah. I think they should wear pads.
That
I don't know why they don't.
That is a really good question. Why don't they? Why wouldn't
Johnny Manziel wore a helmet during his pro day?
Yeah, that doesn't. That
didn't help him, but
no, it's maybe a bad example.
Oh, I mean, he got drafted in the first round. Maybe it did. But.
Yeah. No, that is a great point because at the end of the day, you're grading these guys on how they play football. So why wouldn't you try and replicate it as closely to a football game as you could?
That's like having like a baseball combine without a bat, or like basketball without the ball.
No, that's exactly. It's basketball. Like it's a scouting thing without a hoop. It's like
can you pretend? Can you do a layup with like a make believe ball? See how good it is.
Now pantomime like you're gonna shoot a half court shot.
Yeah.
There's no basket there, but we would just want to see what it looks like when you're trying to do it. So later on, we're gonna ask you about your testicles.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably a good place to stop, don't you think? For this episode.
You got nothing?
My only real closing remark is that it's a warning, I guess, is just when we get into combine time, there's all these rumors, there's all these different things. Before you retweet, you got to double check to make sure who's doing the tweeting. You got to double check the source.
Stay off of Instagram, too. That's just like a cesspool of
it's bad information,
very false rumors that people are just making to get likes and followers and
there are a lot of rumors that you should be paying attention to right now, so it like if you want to be plugged in and you're into that kind of thing, like you probably are because you're listening to this podcast.
People like Schefter and Rappaport and some of the Vikings reporters that work for the Star Tribune, not people who work for radio stations that are trying to get more listeners for their new show.
Don't make enemies. No.
What? No.
But no, follow the right people. It's important because we don't want bad information being spread. It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's really my only closing remark.
Just follow the people that have credibility. That's all.
That's all we ask. All right. Oh, man, I haven't even been playing the music this whole time. But, yeah. That's pretty much it for my closing remark. I just want people to be careful because that's how we lose credibility. And if nobody's got any credibility, then what are we doing out here, you know?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Just be careful with all the prospects, too, in the combine. Getting all those high marks. And, I mean, teams fall victim to it every year. So
it's true. It's
gonna happen.
It's
Kyler
hard
Murray,
to look away from somebody who's running a 4.33 40, no matter what they're doing in the kitchen.
Didn't do anything at the combine, and now he's like the number one pick.
I take Rose. I'll take it.
If you're the Redskins?
Yes. Tannehill. What a terrible position. All right, but
Bortles.
Go Vikes. I'll see you next week.
Next week for free agency
frenzy bonanza. Not sure if bonanza is going to be on the title, but definitely. Yeah, everybody will. See you next week. Thanks.